It was an uchiha part 2. Let's get straight into it. Where we left off, Kirito had just finished off the Titan's Hand Guild, and we are now at, the Titan's Hand, he almost goes there. Now we're at the Murder in the Safe Zone arc. This one I'm going to make a little bit faster due to the fact instead of, them having to deal with it, Kirito's Sharingan. We get straight to the murder zone. Most of it stays the same with Kirito and Asuna eating. And when they get to the murder, where the dude's hanging from it, Kirito's Sharingan automatically picks up that his life points aren't decreasing, and that when he hits the ground, he teleported. So it's pretty easy to figure out the mystery. Same goes away, but they figure out faster and they just lead it on. Same events happen. They go through it, but when when everything goes through the normal way, I start kind of messing up. So then we get to, now we get to where Kirito's at Liz's shop. And he asks for your best sword. She hands him her best sword, and he snaps it in half. She starts getting mad at him, saying that she's going to pay for that. And he looks at her, and the Sharingan activates, and he's like, well, that's your own fault for giving me a faulty sword. Just for a second, scaring her. Then he goes back to normal, and she tells him they can get this Ramatetto, but you need a blacksmith to go with you. They go to the area, he tells her to hide, and we once again get to the dragon. But this time, Kirito damages it a lot more. When Lisbeth jumps out, instead of having to rush, he uses his Sharingan's ability to appear next to Lisbeth. I'll explain this later, what it is. And he grabs her, and then he purposely jumps towards the hole, landing perfectly so they don't take damage, just for fun. Well, moreover, he knows where the dragon stuff is laid. And then he lets him sleep in the morning, tosses her the crystal, saying, I already knew where it was. And it says, the dragon should be back soon. And they do the whole running and jumping on the dragon and doing it. It's a lot faster because I'm not really going into detail. Yes. Now we get to him and Asuna going on the, I think it was the 74th floor. 74th floor. And they're walking, and after beating all the kobolds, and they take a look into the dungeon, where again, they see a terrifying beast of a freaking monster. And then they walk away like before, and start eating. Klein and them show up and interrupt, and then the Liberation Army continues. And now when we get to them rushing into fight, Kirito is dual wielding out almost instantly. In this one, his dual wielding was more open. And he didn't really hide it because he didn't care. Then we get to when his dual wielding starts to fail. The boss monster is stronger than the original, and it starts beating on Kirito for a second and just pushes him back. So Kirito decides, enough is enough. I'm going to use that skill. And he tells them to give him 1 minute. And he closes his eyes. When he opens them again, his Mangekyo is active. But unlike the other Mangekyos, this doesn't make you go blind, but one of them looks like Kakashi's Mangekyo in his, we'll do left eye. No, right eye. And then his left eye has Shisui's Mangekyo Sharingan look. So he has 2 different looks. And then we see him say, secret skill, sorry, to say, Susanoo. And a giant black and white skeletal figure in armor and a cloak appears around him with 2 swords. And he starts wailing on the monster, not letting up until he kills it. And everyone's like, what was that? I've never seen that. And then Klein goes, first you have the dual wielding, and now this? Kirito says that's not all, and Klein's just like, that's BS. He's mad. And then we get to the Crimson Killing Intent. The episode where he wants to get Kirito out of the blood, Knights of the Blood Oath, and he has to fight, should call him Akihiya Kaiba. And stand before each other in the battle arena, a bunch of people. And Kirito and then him being told about Kirito having dual wielding he knew about, but this item that he never knew was in his game, Susanoo. And he tells Kirito, come at me with those abilities of yours, boy. Kirito runs at him. Not activating his Susanoo, but his eyes are changing into the Mangekyo. He starts wailing his sword on. And for some reason, every time he tries to block, Akihiko tries to block, Kirito is able to feint and go to stab the other area. Then he gets yellow health, and he gets scared. So he turns his assist up to max. Kirito, noticing this with his Sharingan, smiles, knowing he could beat him, but instead surrenders for now. Just for plot convenience, we don't end it early. Still, same events go. We have Kirito and Asuna marrying, them getting Yui and all talking and the fishing. Then we get to the one where the Liberation Army asks for help because Kibao tricked the dude, and they start going to the area, and that boss they've never seen appears. Kirito instantly activating Susanoo to protect them, takes a bunch of damage, and Yui still sacrifices herself with the sword, but instead of her disappearing, Kirito's Sharingan activates a Genjutsu, the Tsukiyomi, which freezes the entire game to think they're continuing, but gives him enough time to make Yui does become a thing still, but this time he's able to give the necklace properties, like boosts. And he puts it on Asuna and puts a bracelet of his own version on, but no Yui part. And then he releases the Genjutsu. Now we get... now it's the fishing tournament, and the guild requesting their turn for the 75th boss? Yeah, against the Skull Reaper. And still games as goes, and Kirito decides he's had enough of this, he's lost enough. And he launches at Akihiko Kaiba, slashing down. As his sword gets knocked back, and you see Immortal Object. And he explains, how did you know? And he says, my eyes told me when you went to block that the system was helping you. And he laughs, telling him, you're very clever, aren't you, boy? And we get to where they're about to do their fight. And Akio makes himself immortal, but he still does use max aim assist. But this time, Kirito doesn't hold back. You see a mid-form Susanoo, not as big armored one, but a mid-form one that's been adjusted with light armor so it can move faster, attack Akihiko. But something's weird about his blades. They're coated in black flames Akihiko's never seen before. And all you see is Susanoo's special ability, Amaterasu Wave. And when he slashes his swords in a cross, his Amaterasu flies at Akio Kaiba, killing him instantly. Akio Kaiba transferred his brain into the nerve gear to talk with Kirito. We go back and he wakes up, finds Asuna's now awakened, and then we get to where they're in real life, and how him and his sister are doing kendo. But Kirito seems different. The sword seems comfortable in his hand. He seems experienced, but he hasn't done kendo in years. What was he doing in that game? But his Sharingan was still Mangekyo in real life. The pain of knowing that actually the person died in real life was enough to activate the Mangekyo fully in real life. And now knowing that the girl he loves is still trapped in a game makes his Mangekyo stronger. Unlocking... I'm gonna call it, instead of the... You know how they have the internal, but you need to put a family member's eye in? Instead of that, we're gonna call it the Immortal Sharingan. It's basically the Eternal Mangekyo, but it has some different abilities. And we get to him learning about Elfheim Online and that arc. But we will leave that off for next video.